So good evening, ladies, and welcome to day 3 of the retreat, which it's our final day, so I always get sad about that. But it's been a good 3 days, and hopefully today you will also enjoy, because I'm going to do a bit more of a practical type session with you, talking about some of my menopause lifesavers. I'm going to keep losing my track where people are dropping in and out because of the links. So we're going to go through the menopause lifesavers, which should start to give you some good tips, 5 different things that you can think about either daily, weekly, or monthly. You might need to build up to those. And then once we've gone through some of those, what we'll then do is have a look at the mastermind program, because as you all know, this is a taster for the main program. It's great that we've got Cynthia on here, and hopefully Jackie might also be able to join at some point. Cynthia did the mastermind back in December, January time. So started it at the back end of last year. So it's good to have her on board, because if we get the opportunity and we get time, we can get her to share some of her stories and her experiences on the program, because I always think it's useful to hear that. But because we've got quite a lot to get through, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. So I wasn't going to do the mastermind. See, my brain fog's playing me up today. It's just, I've been up since, I don't know, 4:30, and it's obviously really playing havoc with my brain cells now. So I apologise for that. We're not going to do the mindfulness exercise, just because of time constraints, if that's okay. And I'm hoping that you're all kind of have got yourself in a room where you're on your own or close to where you can actually, concentrate on everything. So before we get into the lifesavers, any reflections, thoughts on what we talked about on Tuesday? Gosh, it feels like a long time ago, doesn't it? I know, Jacinta, you weren't able to join us and Cynthia wasn't there, but obviously Helen, Michelle and Sally, any thoughts or anything you wanted to share that kind of was a big light bulb for you?
I think for me, touch wood, I've been quite lucky with menopause, but I haven't been lucky with my hormones since my period started. So a lot of the stuff that you were going through, like heavy periods, bleeding for longer, painful periods, the severe mood swings, I had that in my late teens, 20s, mid 30s, until I had the coil to stop it all. So I'm quite pleased that this bit seems a bit of a breeze.
Yeah, and Helen, that can happen if your period history was erratic, or you had migraines, things like that with it. You can often find that as you go through menopause, actually those sorts of things start to actually sort themselves out a bit better. It's like you do the opposite, which is quite weird.
Yeah,
it can happen like
what
that.
I actually think I have done, because of my endometriosis and all the rest of it. I think I am really beginning to feel that I've worked completely backwards.
And that's fine. It's puberty in reverse, so remember.
Yeah.
So it could mean you have a good experience, so that's good though, and you should be kind of celebrating that, definitely.
It's weird, because you kind of it's a nice feeling that you're not suffering like some of the other ladies are, but then I was like, but actually what I went through was I shouldn't have gone through then. So it's counterbalanced, if you like.
Yeah, completely understand. Anybody else wants to share any thoughts? And welcome, Maria. No worries that you lost track of time. It happens to the best of us.
I think for me it was the puberty in reverse. I liked that. I mean, I don't feel my age anyway, so and I try not to look at menopause as a negative. So to hear it like that, it was just like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that.
I guess it has that kind of psychological thing. Puberty in reverse means you're getting younger.
Yeah, exactly.
Which had only just occurred to me. Using the puberty in reverse kind of just, for myself, brought everything down to a kind of a lower level. Didn't seem such a big problem. It's like, actually, I lived through puberty, so I can live through this. But I like that idea that actually you're turning back the clock, which is quite a nice thought. Brilliant. Cool. Okay. Getting younger. Yes, Maria. I'm with you on that one. At 4:30 this morning when the alarm went off, I certainly wanted to be younger. I did not want to get out of bed and nothing wanted to work at all. So definitely, if only we could tell our bodies we're getting younger. And that's quite a nice segue, actually. It's almost like we planned it. So when we're thinking about menopause, there's lots of things we can do now if we're not in that stage, or we can do now if we're in that stage, that will actually help us to have a better experience and will help the aging process on our bodies to not necessarily stop, but to be less dramatic. So we can actually help our bodies to age more gracefully, more evenly, and make sure that we're looking after ourselves for the future, which is what this is all about. A transition is all about looking at the future you, the future life that you're going to have and how you're going to get there. And actually, you can do all of that work in your mind. And like Jackie has said, be motivated, have your goals, all those sorts of things. But it isn't any good if actually your body's not following you with it, or you haven't really worked out how to combat your brain fog and sort those sorts of things out and support yourself. So what I talk to ladies about is actually looking at what I call my menopause lifesavers. It's a new take on a 5-a-day. What I would say is it's not rocket science. And when you hear them, you're going to go, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. But actually, when we're in the midst of menopause or we're coming up to it, we don't always think about ourselves. And when we think about the menopause lifesavers, they are all about putting yourself first, putting some good boundaries around yourself, thinking about how you look after yourself, how you actually talk to yourself. So a lot of that judgment that we hear is often something that we're doing to ourselves. It's the words that we choose to talk to our bodies and our minds, to tell ourselves what we're doing, to tell ourselves off, or actually put ourselves down. We do that to ourselves, and we do that at any age. But actually looking at how you can stop those patterns and the positive impact of stopping those patterns now, what they'll have on you as you transition through menopause and beyond, is really important. And I like to think of these five menopause lifesavers as the building blocks that can really get you to those 3 words that you used on Monday to describe how you wanted your journey to be, that you could look back and say, that's how you feel about that. And I think, Sally, you talked about feeling empowered, being empowering. And actually, working on these things will give you that. It won't give it to you overnight because we know things take time, but it will do. And I'm not saying to you, you have to go out tomorrow and do all these 5 things in one day. Some things will be much easier to do and you'll go, yes, absolutely, I can do that. I can do that straight away and I want to do it. Others you'll go, oh, that's a bit more difficult. That needs a bit more thought, and that's fine. It's a kind of pick and mix. If you can do them all at some point, fantastic. But pick and mix and think about what you're going to need to help your body, your mind, and your journey in this precise moment. And that's where these will come in. They're literally like the lifesaver, the life raft, whatever you want to call it. And I know that if you do these, you'll be more resilient, more empowered. You will come out of menopause actually feeling like the world really is your oyster, that you can do anything you set your mind to. And what was all this big hullabaloo about? And it will set you up for the rest of your life, which is what we're really focusing on. In the mastermind, I do much more about the future rather than the here and now, because it is about the future. So my five a day, obvious ones. I'll run through them and then we'll look at some of them in a bit more detail. So number one, fuel your body. So an obvious one.
What's that? Sorry, Jeanette.
Fuel your body.
Fuel.
Fuel. Yeah. I'm gonna get my teeth in.
It's my phone, not yours.
No, sometimes when you say it, it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like feel your body or something silly like that, which you can do, but you know. Second one is move your body. And I'm being very specific on the words that I'm using. So I'm not saying feed your body, I'm saying fuel. And I'm not saying exercise, I'm saying move, because there's a subtle reason for that, which I'll explain. The third one is build more connection. And that's also an interesting one because there's two parts to that one. The fourth one, do more of what you love. Some people call this follow your passions, which can also fit, but it doesn't have to be. There's subtleties on these, and you use them in a way that's gonna work for you. And then 5, find your purpose. And all of these fit in with positive psychology movement around well-being. And well-being is about the things that you have, the positive things in your life, rather than well-being seen as an absence of illness or an absence of something. So we've moved from scarcity into abundance straight away. So thinking about how can you add to all those positive things you've already got going on. And there's, I'll give you a couple of do's and don'ts. Obviously, in the mastermind and other programs, we go into these in much more detail and you can look at how you do these. But this is all about honoring yourself. It's not about just self-care or self-love necessarily. It's about honoring yourself, which is very different. It's about how you feel about yourself and how you look after yourself. It's about boundaries. It's about putting yourself first. All those things that we know we should be doing and need to do, but don't always do because life gets in the way, families, work, all those sorts of things. So looking at the first two, which are probably the easiest ones for you guys, or you ladies rather, to get into first and maybe start working on. So fueling your body. This is about what you put in. It's about food. It's about beverages, for the American word, drinks. It's about your thoughts and feelings about your body and about your mind. So it isn't just about the stuff you put in for sustenance. It's about the emotional stuff you put in to your body and into your mind. And as I say, it's about honoring yourself. And I always talk to people around, if you've got a Ferrari that's cost you, I don't know, millions of pounds to buy, would you be going out there and putting the cheapest diesel in it rather than the top grade petrol? The answer is probably no, because it's not going to work. Mm. Yet we put crap inside ourselves, for lack of a better word. Mm. We don't necessarily buy the best food or, and I'm not saying you have to do organic and all this sort of stuff. You can if you want to, but we don't always put the good stuff in to keep ourselves going. We don't always really think about eating and fueling our body as something that's good, that's important. So how many of you find yourselves lunchtimes not really having a break, eating a sandwich on the run, checking your phone, doing something on the laptop, reading something, watching the news, putting the washing on whilst you're eating, drinking a cup of tea? Most of us will do that. So we don't make fueling our body an event or a priority. It's something that we do just as a habit. And what I'm saying to you is stop doing that. Think about the food that you're putting in, put in the good stuff, cut down on the stuff that isn't so good for you. And that doesn't mean cutting out, chocolate and stuff like that we might like. Having what you like and what you enjoy to eat is really important. But it's more cutting back on the things like the salt, the sugar, the high sugar, the processed foods. And just remembering that at this stage in your life, when estrogen is dropping away, your digestion isn't so good. You've got to give your body the biggest helping hand you possibly can. So think about how you fuel your body from the perspective of honouring it and seeing it as that amazing sports car. That also goes for whatever touches your lips, whether that is drinks. So, you know, water is great for us. We all know that. They're boring most of the time. You can liven it up, put some fruit in it, things like that. But try to be sensible around the stuff that's going to be not so good for you, like alcohol, like the stimulants, alcohol, caffeine, those sorts of things. Those sorts of drinks are going to overstimulate you. You're not going to get a good night's sleep. Your brain and your body won't be able to process them properly, and you'll be full of toxins. Also, think about if you're a smoker or you're vaping. Is that something you want to keep doing moving forward? By all means, if you enjoy it, do it. But just think about, am I honouring my body by doing that? Because remember, our bodies need more help as we're going through this stage. So the best thing we can do is to really look after them, to keep them in tip-top condition. And like I say, it's not rocket science, but if you remember, of those 400 functions that estrogen has, one of the big ones that causes issues is on our digestion. So if we don't want to be suffering with bloating and wind, which we don't want, or acid reflux that keeps us awake at night, then think about what we're putting in, what, how much, and when. And that will have a massive difference. And also, remember, with less progesterone and testosterone, we're not as good at exercising. We don't burn calories as quickly as we used to. We used to burn more calories when we were sitting still. So if we're still putting in there all the McDonald's and the KFCs and all those things that we used to do when we were younger, our bodies are going to struggle. It's going to end up that we'll be carrying the fat around our middles, which will then make us feel bad. And it's all gonna, it's gonna come back and bite us, basically. Hi, Tina.
Hi there. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Good to see you.
I made it finally.
No, that's all right. That's fine. So that's where we are on fueling your body. So I'm talking about my 5 lifesavers. So
Okay.
we'll pick them up as we go along, and then you'll get the recording. So that's the first one. The next one is moving your body. Now, I'm not saying go out and exercise 20 times a week. If you love exercise and you're fit and you love going to the gym, by all means do that. If you're not a member of a gym now, don't need to do that. But recognize again, this is about you as that beautiful, shiny red Ferrari. You can see I'm a bit of a petrol head, so sorry about that, ladies. Would you, if you've spent $1.5 million on your Ferrari, would you put it in the garage and shut the door, and then weeks on end, go in there, unlock it, and expect it to start first time? Probably not, because it needs to be used. It needs the battery charged. It needs the right petrol in it. It needs the tires to be used. Otherwise, things go flat and lifeless. And that's what happens to us when we're not moving our bodies. Without estrogen, our bones get a lot brittler. Our muscles start to have muscle wastage. Again, those things happen with age, but the loss of estrogen really impacts those. And also, our skin starts to get drier and it starts to get less plump. It loses the elasticity. That has a massive impact, especially on our pelvic floors and on our stomachs. So as the skin gets on our tissues get less plump and less active, all those little muscles that hold food in the stomach, hold your wee in your bladder, hold your poo in, all those things, those little muscles get weaker. So you can imagine what happens. That's where you get acid reflux when you lie down, because the stuff can't stay in your stomach properly. And that's where stress incontinence from both, front and back can happen. So we want to be doing stuff to help those muscles. So we want to be moving, we want to be aiming to move our bodies at least 5 times a week. And it doesn't have to be a massive aerobic class. In fact, if you've got stress incontinence like I've had, you do not want to be doing aerobics under any stretch of the imagination because it's really uncomfortable. So that jumping, running, laughing, sneezing, coughing, forget it. It's not nice. But you want to be doing exercises that are going to help those muscles. So walking is brilliant. If you can set aside time in your diary to go for a walk every day, even when it's ropey weather, because sometimes walking in the rain, if you're dressed right, can be quite nice. Doesn't have to be miles and miles, even 10 minutes a day will help. It's also outside, so it's great for vitamin D. It's great for your own mental well-being. Yeah, Cynthia loves a good walk outside. I try to do that. I try to get my 8 to 10,000 steps a day because that's quite a good measure. Sometimes it does mean I'm walking around the living room like a lunatic in the evening, but I'm still doing it. And also when you're walking, you're putting resistance on your body. That really helps your bones. If you can add some sorts of resistance training, yes, Helen, dog forces you to walk. Love it. And Michelle is a walker, brilliant, excellent. Yeah.
Mhm.
Love it, ladies. I used to be a runner and now I can't run. Walking is now my big go-to. It's like if I'm having a bad moment, that's it, on with the headphones, out for a walk, and it clears everything. So it's good for everything. And as I say, it's good because it puts resistance on your body as well. And resistance, if you can put some sort of resistance training in up to 3 times a week, that might even be just standing in the kitchen, which I've been known to do, doing some squats whilst you're waiting for the kettle to boil, or a few lunges. That's brilliant. Again, you don't need dumbbells, kettlebells, and all that sort of stuff to do it. If you've got it, great. There's some great routines you can follow. But you can just stand there with baked bean cans, one in either hand. You can do, fun things, just shoulder presses, or you can just do squats, things like that. It's just putting extra resistance on because that's so good for your bones. And again, it means that you're not pushing it too hard, because with the lack of testosterone, you might not have that motivation or that desire to exercise hard and long. So just modify it. Do what is going to keep your body moving, keep you feeling good. And of course, it's going to help with that potential weight gain because you're going to burn some of the calories as well. So those are the really practical ones that address some of the physical, which for me were the easy ones to really put in place. And what I do is I get my diary and I put in what I'm going to do for myself each day first, and then fill the rest of the day around that. And I find that works really well, and it means that I do what I said I was going to do. Because this is the thing, honouring yourself puts you at the top of your list all the time. You mustn't forget that one. Building more connection is an important one, and this is connection to others and to yourself. And this is where boundaries come in as well. So I know Tina and Maria, we've talked in various conversations about the importance of boundaries. Boundaries are for you and you alone, and they are for keeping you protected, keeping you safe, in some respects, keeping you sane, and making sure you have enough fuel in your tank for you. Because most of the time we give all the fuel out to everybody else, we have nothing left. So it's important to look at the people that you surround yourself with. Definitely, we've all got those relationships which have probably passed their sell-by date. And recognizing that friends are there for a time frame. Some are there for a very finite time frame. Others will be there by your side throughout. And those are the ones where the boundaries are unspoken and unwritten, but they just are there between the two of you. Look at the relationships that you have. If you've got relationships around you that are negative ones that are bringing you down, think about, do I need them in my life? Is that the best thing for me? The split might be difficult, but it's really important, because when you have too many of the wrong connections that are bringing you down, you're going to lose touch with who you are, who Sally is in the middle of this, who Jacinta is. And at menopause, we can lose that connection to ourselves really quickly, because everything's changing. We look in the mirror, we don't recognize the person. We've never had brain fog before. We can't work out why it is that we can't remember how to tie our shoes or how to spell the word does, or we get really angry with ourselves because we get halfway up the stairs and we can't remember, one, why we're going upstairs, or even if we're going upstairs, or were we coming downstairs. That can make us really anxious. Got to build the connection back with yourself, and that's where boundaries come in. And then you can spend that time. So set aside quiet time for yourself, meditation time, journaling time, just thinking, who am I? What am I here to do? What do I stand for? What do I want to be seen for? How do I want to live my life? Is my life the best it can be right now? And what can I do about that? So those are much deeper things, but having the connection there will help, because let's face it, you may have been a mum, kids have grown up, left home, they're independent. Suddenly you're like, oh, I haven't got a connection with who I was before. You haven't got the connection that you used to have at the school gates. Those mums have all drifted off. You might have found yourself, like Maria and I, leaving the workplace, setting up our own businesses. Suddenly that group of connections isn't as it was before. And for me, it was like suddenly it's just me and my husband, and my husband's retired, which frightened the life out of me, because it's like, oh my God, I was going to be here 24/7, and he used to work shifts. So suddenly it's like, oh, I've got to rebuild that connection, because we've not lived so close together all the time. So connection comes from having your strong boundaries, knowing what you want from your relationships, being strong to say, this relationship doesn't work for me. And that can be with a significant other, it can be with a family member, it can be with a friend. And never be fearful to cut those ties. Not everybody expects to be in your life forever and a day. And it's a brave thing to do. And that's why I say, if you can do that, cut the connections that are draining you and have more of the real positive connections. That's going to help you, but it takes a bit longer, because you've got to build that connection with yourself first. And none of this stuff is easy, unfortunately. Now, the one that I really love is do more of what you love. I love this one. To me, it's an excuse to do lots of silly things that I enjoy doing that make me laugh and make me feel like a child again. So really doing that puberty in reverse. And that doing more of what makes you happy is so good for your mental well-being. Because not only does it release endorphins and serotonin and all of that, it gives you energy when you might be feeling really tired, really low, and really struggling. Doing something that you love will automatically make you smile, whether that is playing with the dog. Sometimes I will just sit there and play with the cat, who's a complete time waster, but she makes me laugh. And then suddenly the world doesn't seem so bad. And if the thing that you love is a hobby, if it's knitting, or if it's some big grand thing that, you love being around children, you want to help children to read. Yes, Cynthia, I agree. Pets are the best, definitely. And they don't expect anything more from you. They don't criticize you or anything. They're just there. That's why they're so good for us. And they're great therapy. But if the thing that you love doing is some big grand thing, whether it is, you're passionate about wildlife. So, you work with a charity, or you go out and you clean the woods or the beaches, things like that. That's even better, because that then starts to blend into giving you a purpose, giving you something that you can go, you know what, I could make this much, much more important to me. do more of what lights you up, whatever that might be. It's strange, I retook up knitting. I used to knit an awful lot. I'm like a little old lady. I like knitting and sewing. But I used to love knitting. And then I got, oh, I can't be bothered. It's too hard work and all this sort of stuff. When I left the workplace, I realised that I wasn't giving time to things like that, because it's really mindful, because you can only concentrate on that at that time, because otherwise, if it's a pattern, there's nothing worse than taking the pattern back all the time. Brilliant. And Michelle's a knitter as well. I can crochet too. I couldn't teach you, Michelle, but I can crochet too. I did grand that you taught me all these things. But I took knitting back up again, because I found myself of an evening just falling into a kind of a bit of a stupor, sitting on the sofa watching TV that I didn't really want to watch, or that wasn't interesting me. So I took up knitting, and it does mean I stay awake much more, and I have something to show for it. And I absolutely love it. I don't do it every single day, but when I feel like it, I really get into it, and it really makes me smile. And actually, if they were saying they wanted blankets for Africa or anything like that, I'd be quite happily knitting squares and making them into a blanket, because it's a great purpose. But just find what you're passionate about and what you love doing, and only for you. Not, oh, I love doing this because my family can do it with me. Find that passion, that thing you love, that is just for you, and that will help you to build that connection back to yourself again. And that's the key thing. It's got to be for you all the time. This is about honoring you, not doing something you're passionate about because your husband likes doing it or it's good for the kids. It's got to be good for you and you alone first. And if it's something you do with other people, right? Or if it's something you do on your own, it's building that connection back to you, giving yourself that sense of giving back to you. And then the last one is the big one, finding your purpose in life. This is a huge one. And we talked a little bit about psychological impact of loss on Tuesday. And actually that for a lot of people, ladies, and I think Sally, we've talked about this, in that actually as you go through menopause, suddenly you're not quite sure who you are or what you stand for or what matters to you. There's a big, well, what now? And that can come because your children have grown up, or you've not had children and you're not going to be a grandma or any of those things, and you're thinking, well, I'm quite comfortable with that, but what do I do for the rest of my life? It can come if you take redundancy, you retire, whatever. Finding your purpose, and if it's something you're passionate about as well, is brilliant, and spend more of your time doing that. You will find you will suddenly feel so much brighter. Jackie, when we were talking before, and she's still got this in her mind, she wants to be a childminder for children with learning difficulties. She's absolutely passionate about helping children. She wants to be around children, so she wants to do that. We had another lady on the first mastermind who wanted to help other parents who were struggling. She wanted to be a parenting coach because she was passionate about being around people and helping them to build strong families like she had. But she kept doing the confidence thing of, well, why would anyone listen to me? And it's like, well, because you're a mother, because you're a grandmother, because you know what you've been doing. Your purpose doesn't have to be a big grand thing. It could be that you just love the local woods, or like I say, the local beach, and you want to see it look nice. So you go and you volunteer to pick up litter. You're going to build connection because there's going to be lots of other people doing that you may not have met before. And you're doing something just for you because you're passionate about it. If it is something that is your job, it will give you that alignment. So your purpose will be something that really fits with your values and your belief systems, what matters to you. And we don't always focus on those, but as you get older, and particularly as you go through menopause, they do come to the fore much more. You start to find yourself being a little bit more frustrated when things aren't where you think they should be, and it's not, things just aren't sitting right. And being out of alignment and not having that purpose is going to play havoc again with your moods. You'll feel more mood swings because you'll get frustrated, you'll feel anger, your anxiety will kick in, you'll probably find you're not sleeping because you're not fulfilled mentally during the day. So finding your purpose is really good. I do an exercise where we have 3 circles that like a Venn diagram. One is, what's the thing you're passionate about in the world? What's the problem you want to solve? It doesn't have to, again, it doesn't have to be a big one, just be a small one. What's the problem you want to solve, or what's the thing you're passionate about? Then, what are your strengths? What do you bring to the table that's uniquely yours? What are you really good at? And then the third one is, what do you love to do? When you bring those 3 things together, in the middle, you should start to be able to see what your purpose is. So for Jackie, she was passionate about giving children with learning difficulties the best start in life. She was a great mum, grandmother, looked after children. She's a child with special needs herself. So she has those strengths. And she really enjoys being around children. It's almost like she didn't want her children to grow up. She liked being around children. So there's her purpose.
Was the first one what you're passionate about?
The first one is, what's the problem or the thing in the world that you want to change?
Okay.
And that could be, so I became a school governor because I felt that children, particularly in deprived areas and from difficult backgrounds, didn't get the opportunities they should do or that they're entitled to. I think I also recognise that I was, in some respects, lucky that my parents pushed me, they gave me everything, they came to all the school stuff, all that sort of stuff. So I was able to make the most of those opportunities. So what I wanted to do was to help them. So I became a school governor. And I did things like sat on the committee that decided on whether children got excluded or not. The school didn't like it because I refused many that they wanted to exclude, because I just felt that it was the wrong thing to do, and was encouraging the school to think differently around how they work with those children to keep them in school. Because I believe once they're out of school, you've just cut down all their life chances. So that all came together. And that's the first thing I started to do, was be a school governor. So it is a passion, but it's a problem that you see that you would like to solve, that you're passionate about solving. So that's a bit of a toolkit, but it does mean work. And in all of this, with taking control of your menopause journey, building those choices, it's all work, I'm afraid, ladies. If we could go to sleep one day and then wake up the next day and it's all sorted, that would be just amazing. And who knows, in a few years' time, maybe it would be. Maybe they'll give us the patch that solves everything overnight, rather than it takes a few years. But there's no easy things in all of this. Did you have any questions you wanted to ask about those things?
For me, I can relate to the first 4 of the 5, but if I'm honest with all you ladies, I struggle with the 5th one about finding my purpose. And I guess that's to do with the fact that, as I've said to you before, I feel like I've changed physically and mentally. And so it's kind of getting my head around that one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, Sally. And it is the hardest one of the 5. To be honest, and it's the one that takes more work. So when we're on the mastermind, we do look at what's the future you want to create, because that's where that will fall in. And we do a lot more of coaching around that, a lot more deep diving on questions and getting to understand what makes us tick. So that you can come and you can work to that. It's not something that comes straight away. It took me about 30 odd years. So it, and we have one lady on the mastermind who said, I don't have a purpose in life. Oh, because she was looking at some big thing. And I think she probably will still say the same thing now. Although in the work that she does, she helps people, you know, she helps people that are employed, but helps them in a way that kind of, they're people that, I'm trying to put it in the right way. She works with organisations that need a lot of help, that maybe have got a lot of staff on minimum wage, not really clued up into how to support their staff better. So she does that kind of HR type work because she's really passionate about actually everybody should have a good work experience. So that's where she comes from.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't have to be a massive thing.
No, it just needs to give meaning to you and to where you want your life to be. That's all. And it will be very different to what Michelle thinks, Maria, Tina, whoever, or myself. And it can be multifaceted and it can change.
Well, I was about to say, I kind of feel the same, Sally, and I would say, I mean, 2 years ago, I didn't have a clue what my purpose was. I was completely, just didn't have an utter clue till about a year ago. But actually, I would say that purpose has probably evolved 3, maybe 4 times, and I'm still tweaking it.
Yeah, sure.
I still don't feel I know exactly what my purpose is, if you like, but I'm actually kind of on the path, and I'm kind of exploring all the little side roads till I get there, if you like.
Yeah,
that's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of this is a journey rather than a destination.
Yeah.
Because each time you get to what you think is the destination, it changes. So when I look at you, Helen, I know some of your backstory.
Yeah.
So your first big purpose is creating that safe, secure environment for your daughter to flourish in.
Which is what because I've probably known you for about, well, pretty much 18 months, isn't it? Because I met you on Leona's.
A little bit longer. Yeah.
I met you on the Leona's 30 days. So you've probably seen quite a significant difference of where I was then. So middle of the pandemic, recently left a toxic relationship, couldn't work because of COVID, trying to homeschool a child, and I was just sitting at home all day, absolutely fucking bored shitless. But what that did do is that made me reflect, and when I went back to work, it was a good thing, because it made me think, do I really want to do this? Some days it was yes, some days it was no. So it was a case of, yes, I do want to do it, but not as much as what I was doing. Yeah.
And I know you've explored different side jobs, side hustles, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But actually, again, obviously, your daughter comes first, but you're a driving instructor. That's a big purpose. You're giving kids the opportunity to be independent.
Yes. But this,
even though it might have started as just a job.
Yeah, but I think the difference is this job is more stressful now than what it was pre-COVID.
Yeah. So that's because you're catching up on the backlog. Yeah.
But I have thought about rebranding as a holistic driving instructor.
There you go. Start exploring it.
So, which is obviously
your purpose can be what you're doing now. It can be what you're doing for your family, but it will change. As I say, it's a journey rather than necessarily a destination, because the destination will change. I did the school governor piece. I set up Phoenix Wellness because I wanted to help women, and only women, to thrive through menopause, so they didn't have a really crappy experience like I did. And if they were having a crappy experience, that they had a place, a safe place where they could come and they could talk about it openly and honestly and get supported. That's morphed in the last 18 months. I'm now training men. I'm talking to employers. I never was going to do that. No, women only. But experience comes and I go, oh, actually, we don't live on our own.
Well, I
Actually,
think
I'm isolating us. You know, you morph and you change.
yeah, and I think it's also an element, I would say, for you, for Jeanette. It's like you've become a bit of a master in what you set out to do.
Thank you.
So,
I don't see that, but yeah, thank you.
But now you're adding on. So now you're looking, the way I see it from a holistic point of view, you are now thinking, well, it's not just the women. You're expanding that circle out, and it's the impact that it has on partners, their children, and that circle expands.
Yeah. And that, again, that's how your purpose goes. It starts small and it gradually gets bigger.
Yeah.
And it gets bigger as you change, as you see different things, as you talk to people. And that's why if you say, I don't know what my purpose is, that's absolutely the right statement and question to be saying. Do I think this is my purpose and my only purpose? Probably not. And it will change. And that's exciting. That's what keeps us fresh, because all this will keep your brain young as well.
Yeah.
But it is that, actually, if you struggle with your purpose now, don't worry. Focus on the other things as you're doing more of what you love, what you enjoy, or what you're passionate about, whatever kind of level of words you want to put in there. You will find your purpose. It will evolve. It will find you before you find it. It will suddenly drop into your lap. You know, I can start talking and, you know, universal laws and all that sort of stuff, which I won't do. But again, you've got to have faith of some sort, whether it is faith in yourself, faith in a higher power, whatever it is, that will help you to find your purpose. And it's about not getting stressed about it. And not going, oh God, I haven't got a purpose. It will come. It will come.
It's self-belief.
It will come when you least expect it. Yeah. Not just self-belief, it's a faith in yourself, which is a slightly different connotation. That's about actually not just believing you can do it, knowing you can, having some sort of inner peace, core strength that you don't question it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's almost the saying of I can, therefore I do.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very true, Tina. I love that one, and I love the change the thought, change the behaviour.
Exactly.
It's what we think, so we become. If you think I can't do it, you won't.
Yeah.
And these things, these phrases have been around for generations.
Yeah.
But they do mean something, and they're really powerful. And if you start living by some of those things, I think, therefore I can, or I think, therefore I do, you will start to find your purpose and you'll start to be living differently. It's the same as menopause. When you start to think, this is an opportunity for me to grow, to learn, to change, to reinvent myself in the way that I've always wanted to be, to, no holds barred, I can do and be anything I want to be. Then you stop focusing on, oh my God, I feel really crap. Yes, you're going to have days when you feel really crap, and that's fine. But actually, when you've got these 5 things in place, or even just 2 or 3 of them, your I feel crap days will be, yeah, I feel crap, so what? I've got this to do, I'm more excited about that.
They're not always as bad as they seem.
Yeah. And actually, yesterday, when it was today, was horrible. But when you're on tomorrow, yesterday doesn't seem anywhere near as bad. And it's just, another thing I say is, don't look at how far you've got to go, look at how far you've come. That's the big thing.
Yeah, I think that's an important one, actually, very important.
Yeah, I learned to do one thing at a time, like instead of thinking one day at a time, just the next minute. So when I was heavily depressed this year, I would sort of count to 5 and be like, right, I'm just going to put one foot out of the bed and then I'm
Yes.
just going to go and brush one tooth, you know, it's something
Yes.
silly like that. I'm just going to wash this one cup up, and then I'm here now, I'm going to
Makes a
wash the rest of
difference.
it up, and I've learned to build that up.
Yeah, and that's really important, Misha. 1 second at a time. One thing, if you have one goal on the day, and I'm like yourself, I suffered really bad depression, was off work for 4 or 5 months. And I look back at my journals, that's when I started journaling. And there's some really bad stuff in there that makes me cry when I read it. But I also read the good stuff. One day I was celebrating because I got out of bed on my own. I wasn't forced out by my husband. I chose to get up. All right, I didn't choose to get dressed, but I chose to get up. But at
Sometimes
that
that's
moment,
all you
was
need,
huge.
isn't it? Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
They're little wins, aren't they?
absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, with honouring ourselves, it's actually about taking stock. Oh God, yes. Taking stock and making sure that you do celebrate them.
Yeah.
So as always is with me, I've now got 4 minutes left to tell you about the main programme because I got so caught up in the value I was adding. My business coach will shoot me down. So I'm going to do a quick 4 minutes. If it goes over, Cynthia's laughing, yeah. I wanted you, Cynthia, to tell your story. Do you want to do 2 minutes?
Yeah, I can do 2 minutes.
About why you joined the, go on.
So I joined because I'm a quite a young premenopausal person. So I am in perimenopause. I am only 40. And my kind of perimenopause journey started probably last year when I reached out to Janet and went, no doctors want to put a label on this, but all the signs are there. And I'm going through an IVF journey at the same time. So quite emotional kind of years. So I joined Jeanette's just to get a better understanding about it, but also really work on the mindset, especially if you get into perimenopause at a very young age. All these mindset things come into play. And actually that's what a lot of it really helped. But also exploring a little bit things around the future and stuff. So I loved it because we used to have like one session was all about kind of what I'm going to call the theory, but that's good. And then the other session was all like coaching and actually helping each other out. And yeah, I would say if you are interested in digging deeper, definitely the mastermind is probably a fantastic next step. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for that, Cynthia. Cynthia was on the first running, and what we did was we did that over 6 weeks. So you had 2 sessions a week for 6 weeks. You had one masterclass, which is theory, experience, talking, going into breakout rooms, working with each other, having some exercises to do. Yeah, hi, Christine. And then 2 days later, we went into a group coaching session that I run like an action learning set. So this is where the power of a mastermind comes in, because you dictate what we're going to talk about in those sessions. It's not by me. You bring whatever issue you've got, however personal as well, to the table, and we dig in and all of us coach you. The idea is you come out of that with an action to take. We did that two a week, absolutely killed us. I think Cynthia would agree with that, and it did me as well. So I've changed it. So now the program is over 12 weeks, which sounds like a long time, but it is only 36 hours in all of that. And as I say to the ladies, so perimenopause could be 8 to 10 years of feeling like you're in some sort of hell on earth. Surely 36 hours is absolutely worth that investment. If it can make that 8 to 10 years slightly more bearable and maybe shorter. So this time what we do is we do one masterclass 1 week. The following week we do the action learning set, because it just feels like it's easier to do it that way. So you've got time to take on board what we've been talking about, what we've been learning, put some things into practice, and then think about, is there something else I want to talk about? Do I want to get help? Sometimes I know Cynthia did it, she'd come to the table and she'd say, I don't actually have anything that I want to bring up today. And then we get into someone else's issue, and suddenly Cynthia's like not just helping that person, but going, oh my God, I've been looking at that as well. So it kind of really helps you. And if you've done action learning, it's great because it creates that extra empathy and active listening. It also helps your kind of solution problem solving skills as well, because you have to be actually really focused and engaged for that hour and a half with that person, asking the questions, you know, how it's like, you know, helping to put the string around the tooth and pull it out gently to help them to find the solution and the thing that they can go away and try. And invariably you learn through it as well, because the problems that will come up will be things that maybe you're interested in or you didn't know were going to be an issue. So it's over 12 weeks. It's an hour to an hour and a half each week, depending on how you feel. And we have the 6 set masterclasses, but actually what we do is, if through the coaching, there's something that keeps consistently coming up, or in the chat group, you go, I want to dig into this. Then what I will do is say, okay, we can either take out a masterclass or we can add an extra one in if you want to. So you can get even more value because we change it to fit with what you ladies need to get out of it. Because I can set a program, and I set a program because I know that's what I wanted to get out of it, but I'm not you. I'm here to help you. So I can change things and do change things to make sure that the ladies that are on the program get exactly what they need and what they want. So we help you to set those goals. We help you to dig into if boundaries are a problem. And I know that's something that we talked about with Cynthia, how to actually set those and feel good about them. So the program is very much yours and yours alone. And I would say this will be the second run-in, and certainly Cynthia, Jackie, Babette and Steph, I have to remember the ladies, all came to it wanting to find something, whether it was to have the knowledge. For Cynthia, it was the knowledge and how that was going to impact her fertility journey and what she needed to do to look after herself. For probably Steph and Jackie, it was finding their purpose and actually getting back to finding out who the devil they were. For Babette, okay, Helen, no worries, you can pick up the rest. For Babette, hers was, I think I'm in menopause. I'm not quite sure, so I want the knowledge, having some of this stuff going on. But for her, it also did a lot more about her self-care, which she realised was an area she didn't do enough of. So whatever you come into it with, we look at those goals and we work so that you can achieve them. If it's knowledge you're after, you will 100% get it. Guarantee that without shadow of doubt. And actually, my knowledge that I've also gained in the last, where are we now, 8 months, is much bigger than even when we first ran it. So Cynthia came on it again, she'd learn even more because my knowledge has grown. So I'm adding to it all the time. You obviously have the group, the women there that are going to be supportive. You have a chat group you can use, you don't have to use. You can talk to them. And I know the 4 ladies, Babette, Cynthia, Jackie and Steph, remember all the names, they're still in touch with each other. They still talk, they still support one another. And I haven't asked either Cynthia or Jackie to come on this call. They joined. I think Jackie's been on every time I've run the retreat because she just loves it and gets something different each time. And it's fantastic. But they've built a really good community, and that sense of not feeling alone is what you will get, as well as the transformation that you're looking for. I absolutely love this program. I mean, kind of, you would think I would say that, but I actually do. I did a program before, I didn't love it. This one feels right, and I love that it grows and changes each time. and it grows in relation to the ladies. And I know lots of you have been saying to me the different things that have struck you so far this week. Certainly Sally, we've talked a lot about, you know, the positive mindset on menopause. That change was really big for you. I know you said Tuesday you got a lot. The lady from Atlanta sent me a gorgeous message, quite sad, and we're going to talk, but actually the time that she was able to join on Tuesday, she got a lot from it. And I keep saying, and it sounds glib, I keep saying, think what you've just got in 3 hours. Think what you could get if you times that by 12. 3 12s, is that 36 or something like that, isn't it? If you times it by 12, think what else you will get and how that will impact and benefit not just you, which is absolutely what you want, everybody around you, because that benefit is the rings and a pull that drifts out. You know, Jackie, well, actually now she's just left her job. She would never have done that. And I don't actually encourage you to leave your jobs unless that's what you want to do. It's not about leave your job. She found her purpose and she works to it. Absolutely. She is a much more confident lady than ever before. And same as the other ladies. So you will find that not just you will benefit, so will those around you. You know, my husband, I think, knows that when I do this stuff, I get really excited and happy, and I'm a much better person from it. So he's quite happy then, because I'm not grumpy like I used to be when I was doing stuff that wasn't what I wanted to do. And actually, as I've learned, I share that knowledge. All the stuff that I teach, I do myself as well. And like you ladies, I fall off the wagon regularly. I will go, oops, I haven't really looked after myself today, or I shouldn't have eaten that. You know, I was on my own in the house today, so I came home from my meeting this morning and straight away got a chocolate cake out the cupboard. 8:30 in the morning, I'm eating chocolate cake. It's like, that's because Andrew's not here watching me. And then I went, okay, I enjoyed that, but I'm not going to have the second one. So like you, I have those lapses as well. I don't always get it right, but it's a journey, and I'll take you on that journey and create that safe space for you. You've all opened up so much this week. Again, the amount of further honesty and support you get in that mastermind is huge, because it's just you in that space and you alone. Any questions? You've all gone silent.
Taking it all in.
Taking it all in. I mean, there's like, oh, excuse me. Normally people say, how much is it? You want to know that, or do you already know?
No, I
Probably,
don't know.
but I've forgotten. I tend to if I mean, you can see what I'm like with my work. It's like, yep, next, what? I got more work done. I think that was a good thing.
So the program, as I say, it's 12 weeks. Starts the 12th of September on a Monday, and it'll be a Monday every week, unless another day of the week works better for you all, because again, I'm quite happy to shift around and work that out. So it's 12th of September, it finishes somewhere middle to end of November because of that. So you'll get it all done before Christmas, which is great. It's an early Christmas present. It's £600 for the 12 weeks, which again, I know in times of high electricity, high gas, inflation, all that sort of stuff, money is difficult, but think of it as an investment in your future. Think, actually, if you get this stuff right now, how much more that £600 will be worth in 3-5 years' time, when actually you're in a better place. And the good thing is, I don't say to you, you've got to pay it up front. If you want to, you can, and you get a 20% discount. Or you can pay it in installments. I can do either 4 monthly installments or 3 monthly installments. Again, ever works for you, because I want you to be able to come and to learn and to actually feel invested in yourself. So I will make it easy for you. I won't make it cheap. Don't come to me and say, can I have it for 300 quid? Because I need to say no.
I've got my
Or 50
calculator on my
quid.
I've got my calculator on my screen because I'm a secretary. I don't do maths. So
So,
even
all right.
simple maths,
So,
it's 150
if-
pound if it's by 4 per 4. How can't I add up?
yeah, so the easy stuff is, if you pay it, if you say, yes, I want it, and you sign up by the 31st of August, or I might extend it to the 2nd of September because I'm off for a couple of weeks, you will get it £600 with 20% discount. So that's 480. But you have to pay it. If you do it over 4 months, first payment would be, I think, the 31st of August, and it's £150 each month. If you do it over the 3 months, it would be paid the first instalment on the probably the, I'm trying to think, the 12th is a Monday, so that makes it 11, 10, and the 9th of September. I can't do calendars. And that will be £200. So the first instalment will be 9th of September, then 9th of October, and 9th of November. Make sense? But
Yeah.
your maths as well, Christine, because I'm no good at maths either. I have to write it all down.
Can I just ask a question? Is it
Yeah.
If you didn't want to like sign up straight away now, can you then when you do the next one, or can you be contacted to book one later on? The only
I
reason
can do that.
I asked for myself is because I'm in the middle of selling my house. I've got lots of stuff going on with an ex-partner, and so at the moment I'm a bit kind of I need to I'm sorting my finances out, shall we say, because of them. So if I can I will, but I also want to know whether if it's possible to do it like at a later date potentially as well.
I do try to run them twice a year,
Twice a year, okay.
but I haven't yet worked out, I haven't got round with my VA to look at what next year looks like yet, to know exactly when I would run it, because this one will be September to November, so I probably won't do another one until probably March time.
Right, okay, yeah.
Because I've got other things scheduled in between.
Sure.
But as I say, I do try. My plan is to do them twice a year if I can fit it in, because now I've got other programs and one-to-one as well that I offer. So it's working that out.
Yeah.
But I get it with finances, definitely. You know, and I would never. My business coach always says it's never about the money. Actually, it is. You would get great value, and actually it might be an opportunity for you in all the turmoil of what's going on around you to just focus on you for that hour and a half each week, which could be really good.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
but again, I get it with finances.
Yeah.
But you know, we can talk and see what would work for you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? We've all gone deathly quiet.
Well, I turned up late, so I don't know what was discussed.
Yeah, you'll get the recording. Hopefully,
it was very
will
interesting
load
work.
up
I literally just went away with it. I was just on a mission, and then my hubby said, "Oh, you meant to be in a meeting." I was like, "Oh."
Well, if you're, let me just turn the recording off.